ladies and gentlemen, your 2011 President, Billy Doelker.
Thank you. I was hoping Scott would take about as much time as Hillary did there a few years ago, and I could just walk up like Stan and throw my speech over my shoulder, and we could be on our way. I hope everyone's had a good evening thus far tonight. I promise I'll keep this as brief as I can. I know the dessert bar and coffee bar is waiting on us, and I'm sure we're all anxious to get over there. On top of that, I've had several warnings already from some past presidents, Stan being one. I think John got me about not going too long, so we'll try to do that. However, they need to be reminded that I'm president this year, not them. So. Before we get started, I do have a few people I want to introduce, and I probably have more than maybe I should, but I'm going to take just a minute to introduce some people. I've got two different sets. First table is actually my coworkers at Key Homes, and if it weren't for them and their willingness to support me in this endeavor and leading this association to be able to keep our business sound and firm while I'm spending some time at the association next year, it wouldn't be possible for me to stand up here. So I'd like to introduce, and you can just hold your applause till the end, Jeanette White and her husband Jeremy, Penny Tabor and her husband Tony, Jeremy Longstreet and his wife Angela, and then I saved it last for the best at this table because it's my family, and I'll transition my beautiful wife Lisa of 11 years. And some of you may have seen my daughter Hallie was here earlier. She's only 8 months old, so she didn't have a clue she was here. So anyway, I just would like to say thank you to them for supporting me in this coming year. So thank you all. Secondly, at the table right behind them is my family. My father, Bill Doelker, and his friend Susan. My sister, Jennifer, and her husband, Micah. My father-in-law, John Lowe, and my sister-in-law, Courtney Lowe. And my mother-in-law was here earlier, and she took the baby home. So thank you all for being here tonight and being supportive. As I stand here before you now accepting this responsibility of becoming the president of the Home Builders Association in 2011, you should know that I'm incredibly humbled by this opportunity. I realize that this organization has many other builders who have the abilities necessary to lead this association as good as I can. For those of you that know me well, you know that this is not the most comfortable position for me in the world, that being on stage in front of a couple hundred people, first of all, but also I'm not one that looks to have the attention directed my way. When I first started working, my working career as a 13-year-old in 1989, working for local builders Tony Lockhart and Frank Taylor, I didn't know that I would find an industry that I would stay in for a lifetime. I'm grateful for the opportunities that they extended to me over the next 11 years that prepared me for the future, and ultimately starting Key Homes in 1999. What happened during those 11 years while working and going to high school and college was I went from realizing that I not only had a job in the housing business, but I developed a passion for this industry that I truly love, even during the challenging times we've been experiencing. When I joined HBAL 10 years ago, I did so because basically Tony Lockhart told me I should, and really had no desire to be involved. I quickly realized what this association was all about and how important it is to our local housing market and affiliated businesses and members. I'm one who believes that we have a responsibility to serve others, and that's when I knew that I needed to continue with that thought, combined with the passion that I have for this industry, and get involved. So that's why I stand here before you today, preparing to serve in this capacity. I can assure you that titles and accomplishments are not what I put my weight in. That being said, I am most certainly honored that the members of this association saw fit for me to lead this association as the president in this coming year. You have by both my word now, and from what I've shown in the past few years, that I will attempt to lead this association with the fullest of my ability while never sacrificing the integrity or the ethical necessities that come with the position of leadership and for what this association stands for. All right, enough about me. When I look into the audience, there are several things that come to mind. First, I see many past presidents of this association who have tirelessly labored to lay the solid foundation we experience today. As you've already heard, the HBAL is currently the second largest association in the country. When I think about these leaders, I see a vast array of knowledge, experience, and wisdom, along with a lot of gray hair. But don't worry, Rocky, you're not the only one. There's a lot of them. But the thing that is such a testimony is to these past leaders is the commitment commitment that these leaders have for the association, the fact that they continue to give of their time and their talents today. I'm personally thankful to each one of you for the work that you have done on behalf of the HBAL. The second thing I notice is the number of members here tonight that are actively involved in the work of the HBAL through the various committees. The involvement of the members of this association, I believe, is one of its strongest attributes. As most of you know, there's an incredible amount of individual talent represented within this association. However, it takes working together as an effective team to be able to celebrate the wins along the way. I'm glad that we're not like the NBA's Miami Heat with superstars LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, who are arguably 3 of the top 10 players in the league. However, they're struggling to keep a 500 record right now. I know they're on a 3-game winning streak, but they're still struggling. Fortunately, the members of this association have always worked well together for the benefit of the industry, all while being competitors of one another. You don't find many organizations like that. The camaraderie and work ethics of the members are characteristics that I'm thankful to have been a part of the past many years, and I hope we can continue to build on this in the future. If you are already involved in a committee, we thank you for your time. If you're here tonight and you're not involved in a committee, I would strongly encourage you to find something that is of interest to you and get involved. You'll find that you can make a difference and you'll receive more back. The last thing I noticed, and Scott and others have already commented, is the HBAL staff. I've learned over the past couple of years how important and good the staff of this association is. I've been told by several past presidents I will even see this more during my year as president. They all truly take ownership and initiative in what they do, and that comes through in the way they represent the association and carry out their job responsibilities. Chuck Cavanaugh is widely regarded as one of the top executive officers in the country, and we are very thankful to have him here as our leader in Louisville. I believe the rest of the staff are some of the best in what they do as well, and we should be thankful that we have such an incredibly dedicated and knowledgeable staff to work alongside our membership. Each of them display the same characteristics I mentioned a minute ago about being a part of an effective team and doing a great job to encourage this within their respective committees. Again, we should be thankful for all of them. I would now like to share with you a few priorities that I see that we as an industry and association need to focus on in 2011. We have to deal with the banking and financing situation for AD&C loans. The inability for us as builders and developers to get financing for our projects and houses continue to cripple our industry today. We recognize that this is both a governmental and a banking issue, and we have to fight this with a full throttle forward to find a solution. We have to stay in touch and continue to work with the NEHB with what they're doing nationally, but we also have to address it locally. In order to deal with this locally, I will be assembling a banking and financing task force made up of some of our members in the coming weeks to work to rebuild the relationships with our local banks and have them work with us to find a solution. Secondly, we have to work to revive the sale of new homes to be an important part of the overall home sales in our community. In order for this to happen, I believe a part of that is we have to join forces with our local realtors to get new homes back on their minds. There are many ways to accomplish this, but that relationship that we need to build between our builders and realtors is paramount. Thirdly, we need to continue working and developing our relationships with our elected officials. This includes Mayor-elect Greg Fisher, new County Judge David Vogel in Oldham, and many other current and newly elected officials in the surrounding counties. As you know, it's very important for them to understand the benefits of our industry and us to have an open dialogue of communication day in and day out. Again, I would like to thank Greg for being with us tonight and helping us with the installation of our board of directors. I think he may be gone now. Lastly, I think we need to be optimistic that 2011 will be a better year in a lot of ways. With that in mind, I think the HBAL needs to be helping to prepare its members for when the housing market does start to recover. We've certainly heard the predictions the last couple of years that it'll get better, and we're hearing it again for next year. This can mean a lot of things, as most of us all have made dramatic changes to our business over these last few years. I believe that we need to be thinking and prepared to conduct business differently in the future. When the housing market does recover, it will look different than it did before, and the HBAL needs to be educating on its members to be prepared, and we will certainly continue to do that this year. In closing, we all know that the last couple of years have certainly been a challenge within our industry and association. I would imagine that many of you have faced challenges or adversity in your lifetimes. I have certainly faced those challenges and adversity in my life, both personal and professional. From the death of my mother at an early age, to the fertility issues that Lisa and I experienced trying to become pregnant, to the tragic death of a business mentor and partner a few years ago, to the economic challenges that we faced these past few years. All of these things we face in life should only make us better prepared for the future. The past is the past, and we can't change anything that has happened. All we can do is look forward and prepare for what lies ahead. We need to forget the negativity and pessimism that has surrounded our industry the last couple of years and be positive about what lies ahead. It all really comes down to having a positive attitude. Speaking of Derek, a good example of that. A positive attitude is one of the most valuable assets a person can have in life. The individual whose attitude causes him to approach life from an entirely positive perspective is someone who can be called a no-limit person. In other words, the person does not accept the normal limitations of life as most people do. He or she is determined to walk to the very edge of his potential before he accepts defeat. People with positive attitudes are able to go places where others can't. They do things that others can't. They are not restricted by self-imposed limitations. Think of your attitude like this. It is the advanced man of our true selves. Its roots are inward, but its fruits is outward. It is our best friend or our worst enemy. It is more honest and more consistent than our words. It is an outward look based on past experiences. It is a thing which draws people to us or repels them. It is never content until it is expressed. It is the librarian of our past, it is the speaker of our present, and it is the prophet of our future. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting we be unrealistic about what's coming next year, but rather we be cautiously optimistic and positive about what is coming. As your president for 2011, I commit to you to be a leader who is willing to listen to its members, maintain a positive attitude in all things, work to protect the overall stability of the HBAL, and work to have the HBAL continue to make an impact on the housing industry in Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you again for your confidence you have placed in me to lead this association this coming year, and I look forward to serving you and working alongside you. Thank you, and let's go eat dessert.